Section 1-6 starts on page 103 in your textbook, and it talks about commissions. Commissions is just another way to get paid, and typically salespeople get paid by commissions. Now, salespeople have a hard job, and it takes a lot of skill to be a good salesperson. Typically, salespeople will invest a lot in their own personal training, and they have certain personalities that allow them to be successful. As a business owner, you want to make sure that you can pay the best salespeople a lot of money. And if somebody's not cut out for sales, they're not going to be making a lot of money, and chances are they're just going to have to find something else to do. Because sales definitely isn't for everybody, but good salespeople can make a lot of money, often better money than their actual manager. So let's talk about the concept of commission. The math and straight commission in this unit 1-6 is going to be pretty straightforward. But there's a couple things that might trick you up, and I want to make sure that we talk about them. We're talking about straight commissions in this chapter. So pretty much you're always just going to have a commission rate, which is going to be a percentage. And the straight commission is just going to be the percentage multiplied by the amount of money that the sale was. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. We'll bear this out. The first example is pretty much as simple as it is. We have a guy who's a real estate agent, and last week he sold $290,000 home, and his commission percent is 7.5% straight commission. So they want us to know what was his commission on this sale. Pretty simple. We're just going to take 290,000, multiply it by 7.5%. The only thing that students sometimes have a problem with, if they are going to get tricked up in this, is going to be the 7.5%. So I want to take a couple looks at the 7.5%. Here's a review of how to turn any number into a percent. Or, I'm sorry, any percent into a decimal. In this case, we have 7 and 1, oops, sorry. You have 7.5%. 7.5% equals 7.5%. We already talked about that earlier, so 1/2 is 0.5. So 7.5%. Anytime we want to take any percent and turn it into a decimal equivalent, we simply move the decimal place 2 places to the left. So if I move 2 places to the left, I'm going to have to move 1, and then I'm going to add a 0 right here. So 7.5% is going to equal 0.075. Simple, not a problem. Let's take a look at another one. What if it was 15%? 15%, and there's going to be a decimal place here, assumed. So that's going to be, if I move this 2 places to the left, looks like it's going to be 0.15. Got it? What if this was 15, make sure I'm still on the camera here, and 1/4%? Is that a problem? No. First we're going to make sure that we turn this into a decimal equivalent, which is going to be 15 point, and let's see, 1/4. Remember what the decimal equivalent is? 1/4 is? That's 0.25. 15.25. And now we're just going to remember, we just take the decimal place, percent. We want to make sure we move the decimal place over 2 places. So 15.25% is going to equal 0.1525. Got it? Not a problem. You're going to have plenty of practice with this, but really just make sure that you write it down as a decimal and move it to 2 places to the left. I'm going to just do one more just to make sure we got the thing handled. What if it was 1 What if it was 1 3/4%? 1 3/4%. Well, first I'm going to write it as a decimal. 1.75%. Remember our decimal equivalents. And now I'm just going to move it over 2 places. I'm going to add my 0 because there wasn't one there. So I'm down to 1.75% is the same thing as saying 1.75%, which as a decimal is going to be 0.0175. Got it? Not a problem. Now I like the way this book is set up because it'll kind of remind you how to use your calculator down here with this calculator icon that they show us. Here they do it the way I would do it, which is 290,000 times 0.075. They tell you what buttons to push. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And if you want to use the percent button, which I don't recommend because I think it kind of confuses me sometimes, you can type 290,000 times 7.5 and then hit the percent button. Well, you know what? It's an extra keystroke for one, and changing percents to decimals is not a problem. I want to show you one more thing about this so you don't get screwed up. Some of these problems are going to talk about a concept that some salespeople will get a straight commission, sure, but the business will also have a myriad of ways to put that in because some sales take a long time. So what the owner will say is, you know what, I'll give you a couple $100 a week. I'll give you $200 a week, for instance, just to make sure that you're not starving, and I'll also give you 8% commission or something like that when you make a sale. So they'll guarantee them, a good salesperson, they'll guarantee a salesperson so much a week, plus they'll give them percentages. That's what they're doing here. This guy here, he's guaranteed a minimum of $185 a week, or he'll get 5.5% of his total sales, whichever is greater. So the employer is going to say, hey, look, you're a good salesperson. I want to make sure, just if there's no fault of your own, you know, we don't have good traffic flow, whatever it is, slow week, I'm going to give you 185 no matter what. Or I'll give you a 1.5%, whichever is greater. So all you have to do is figure out, in this particular problem, if the guy sold in 1 week $3,422, is that more than 185? Well, let's take a look at that real quick. 3,422. So I got 3,422. I'm going to multiply that by 0.055. I did the conversion very quickly. Remember, 5.5% equals, move the decimal place over twice, 0.055. Grab my calculator, 34, turn it on, 3422, multiply it by 0.055, $188.21. He gets a minimum of 185. Looks like he's going to get the 188.25. Just for your own information, if you have a sales job where they guarantee you a minimum, the owner is going to say, yes, we'll guarantee you a minimum amount, but don't think that you'll be able to earn the minimum for a long time, because if you end up drawing the minimum as a salesperson for too many weeks in a row, the boss is going to say, you know what, you're not work cut out for this, and he's going to have you move on. He's going to fire you. Okay, so they put minimums in for training periods or to handle, you know, odd situations, but typically they expect you to not have to draw the minimum commission. So I don't think you're going to have a problem with straight commissions. 1/6. Go ahead and get your homework done, and I'll see you in the next section.